It began, I think, with the red line at 7:52 on a Monday morning. I rode from North Hollywood to Civic Center every weekday, same train, same time, same spot if I could grab it. Rear car, east-facing window seat, third row. I wasn't thinking about much that day beyond my usual staff meeting and the misfiled parole records I needed to correct at work. I remember the concrete walls of the tunnel just flickering by, the metallic yaw of the train suspension, the soft mechanical voice announcing Vermont/Sunset in that worn, forcedly friendly cadence. Nothing out of place, until we stopped early. I felt it before I saw it. The train's motion slackened in that barely perceptible way it does when it decelerates off schedule. Then we came to a full halt, not at a station, just inside the tunnel somewhere before Vermont Beverly. The lights didn't go out, but their hum deepened into a thinner, higher timbre, almost a whistle, before stabilizing again. No one seemed to care. Someone near the bulkhead rubbed at sleep under their hoodie. A woman scrolled through a Spanish recipe blog. I looked at the LED screen above the opposing seats. It still read, Vermont, Sunset in bright red capital letters, even though we definitely left that platform 2 minutes ago. The conductor didn't come on the speakers, and there was no chime. Just this static pause in forward motion. 46 seconds exactly by my Timex, before we proceeded like normal. The only noticeable thing was what I assumed to be graffiti sprayed on a narrow emergency walkway visible through the window. 3 numerals, 253, in white paint, running downward across one of the concrete panels. I'd never seen it before, though I'd ridden that stretch 100 times. I wouldn't describe any of that as frightening at the time. Odd, maybe. Mechanical delay, incorrect signage. Buses did it all the time. What made me notice it again was that it happened Tuesday, again at what I'd started noting as marker 253 in my own head. This time the delay was shorter, 21 seconds. But the wrong station displayed again, and the white numbers were still there, brighter, like someone had touched them up. On Wednesday, I tested a theory. I waited mid-platform at North Hollywood so I could enter the third car of the red line rather than the last, still timing my commute for 7:52. We passed Vermont Sunset, and yet again, the lights flickered slightly before the train slowed in the same stretch of tunnel. But this time, because I wasn't in the rear car, I couldn't quite see the walkway where the numbers had been. Still, the LED glitched exactly the same way. Station announcement frozen 1 stop behind, screen flickering faintly, then resuming. Thursday, I switched back to my usual rear car. Delay, 32 seconds. Numbers, still there. But now they'd grown. From 2:53, it had become 253R, a red line of paint under the letter, like a dripping underscore. You don't notice how easily you dismiss things until they accumulate just past the edge of comfort. I began looking for halts at that spot. By the second week, it was every day. No announcement, just a hesitation in speed, and that drawn tone in the light buzz. Station readout would lag, then recover. I recorded it twice on my phone, but the audio was garbage, just metal cuts, brake hiss, indistinct rumbles. The second video froze right at the slowdown. Playback on the phone showed this milky motion blur where the numbers should have been, like a frame-skipping delay. I watched it twice on the 6th, and on the third playback, something in the middle third of the footage caught my eye. A motion, a flick, like a shadow on the walkway. Too straight to be a human shape, too slow to be a passing light. Just a brief column of dark sliding behind a concrete post. I showed it to Noah, who worked in IT 2 floors above me. He laughed and said it looked like the compression artifacts you get when the focal length conflicts with motion smoothing. "Not ghosts, my dude," he said, tapping his cracked pixel screen. On Friday of that same week, downtown Civic Center was closed for an LAPD training drill. I rerouted to Pershing Square and walked the 8 blocks. On a whim, I lingered on the platform as the 7:52 train passed me by, still riding the red eastbound, rear car, third window. I stood back from the yellow line and tracked it every inch, eyes locked on that specific window. I couldn't see inside well, too much reflection and angle distortion, but I paid attention to timing. The numbers passed me exactly 34 seconds after it left Vermont/Sunset. I kept my phone aimed the whole stretch, but there was nothing, just blur and shadow and concrete. I thought about stopping the rides, taking the car, doing West Side contract work for a month, anything to reset my habit loop. But I didn't. I never slept very well in LA, and my routines were the glue keeping my schedules intact. Besides, it wasn't like I was feeling watched or unsafe. I still checked the numbers daily, still logged the glitch time when I remembered. Week 3, the delay had grown to 54 seconds. Station board still read as if we'd never left Sunset. The paint now read 253 R31. A new 2-digit code. Black over white, smaller, but fresher. I'd started to sweat during the halt without realizing it. Thin moisture on my ribs, even though the train was cool, the AC on. Every time we moved again, I blinked back into myself as though I hadn't noticed my own fading out. I called Metro customer support from work that Thursday. No same-day answer, but an after-hours message left by a woman named Lorraine said the recorded run logs didn't show any unscheduled hold at that location. If there was a stoppage, she said, it would have been safety protocol and the console would report it. Our operators are trained for that. I asked if station readouts could glitch that consistently. She said the onboard LEDs pulled directly from the train's positioning signal. So if one was wrong, we'd know. Which meant what? Only mine was malfunctioning? But no, I'd seen it above other passengers many times. It wasn't just me. Tuesday of week 4, I rode the front car instead of the rear. As we entered the dark between Vermont/Sunset and Beverly, we passed the walkway on the opposite side, the one I'd never viewed from the front. There, indescribably small, near the base of one of the concrete columns, a figure, not moving, facing slightly toward the tracks. It wore no uniform. It held no tools. From even the short glance I caught, its posture was neutral, neither tense nor resting. I could make out no features, just an uneasy impression of specificity. Sleeves rolled above the wrist, something glinting at the throat like a badge or device. Then gone. The tunnel curved and we exited into Beverly. I craned to look back, but the view had already slid past. I felt my pulse banging against my collar. The LED above me had shown Beverly at the right time. No glitch in this car. The stop had been smooth. It only happened when I was in the rear. Now when we reached marker 253, I sometimes held my breath. The light would flicker thinly, the air pressure shift subtly inward, and the 40 or 50 second freeze would take hold. I began noticing that no one else looked up anymore, not even glances from commuters, as if whatever happened at that location passed through only me. I started filming again, only during the stall, holding the phone steady toward the white digits on the wall. Wednesday's video logged 37 seconds, and when I replayed it on the office desktop in full screen, frame by frame, the glint returned. 16 frames in a row, I caught the flash again. Same height, same spatial relation, just left of the column face. And this was new. It seemed to decrease its distance from the camera by 2 pixels between frames, as if it were closer on the 4th than the 2nd. The next day, I got off at Vermont/Sunset and used the emergency stairs to reach street level, looping along Temple, then north up Madison toward the LA Metro gate enclosure, where that section of tunnel dipped underground. Tall fencing, locked access, service vehicles down the hill. But through the gaps, I could see part of Tunnel B4 where the wall met the slope. A pale white tag, 253R31, still visible from the angle. Not spray painted, I'd realized. Those weren't opaque strokes, but something embedded, stenciled beneath the surface like tiny backlit grooves. Maintenance code? Passenger marker? No internet search turned up anything for those sequences. I stopped riding for 2 days, drove instead. I barely slept on the second night. Vague sounds of brakes and vent rush kept surfacing from the dark, even though my window faced a quiet Koreatown courtyard. I thought for a moment the radiator had kicked on, but the noise came in bursts, short halts, gentle starts, like a mechanical breath. I turned every light on in the apartment and sat on the floor for an hour before dawn. Then Friday, back on the train, rear car again. I had to know. The halt was longer than any before, 78 seconds, by phone timer. The numbers had changed again, now expanded vertically so that 253R31 repeated 3 times in uneven, stacked alignment. The lowest row tilted downward as if descending into the concrete. And beside them, finally, a break in the wall surface, not a shadow, but a divot, a lopsided aperture, some small crawl access. I pressed my face to the glass. Something inside moved, just once. I don't know how else to say it. Not a body, not an animal, but an inward motion. Not forward, not away, but as though the depth of that space swallowed itself slightly tighter for a beat, like an optical drawstring. Then the air pressure corrected, the light tone resumed, and we rattled into Beverly. Saturday, I returned with no excuse needed. Boarded at Hollywood or Western just after 9 a.m. and rode back and forth from Union Station to NoHo 3 times. I took notes, matched delay times. Forward rides showed nothing. Rear car rides gave me the same 78-second delay. Nobody else so much as lifted their head when we stopped. Even as the numbers expanded again, now 5 rows deep, crossing the flange between tunnel segments, everyone remained still in their postures or phones, like they'd been silenced just outside sensory range. I tried taking a photo. The shutter clicked, but the screen blacked. Not a crash, just the kind of freeze an old screen gives when buffering a corrupted .mov file. I checked the gallery later. The image existed, file size 1.2 MB, time-stamped accurately. But opening it just showed void. Not black, not white. Literally nothing rendered. Camera, it turns out, can record the presence of an absence. This morning, Tuesday, I awoke at 4:43 a.m., vivid and alert, no memory of dreams. My bedroom AC had switched sometime overnight but left no click or beep. In its place was a familiar hiss, the hydraulic brake slide of the red line. Not in my room, not literally, just behind the wall, behind the flow of air. Like the atmosphere remembered its shape. I left home at 6:15 without coffee, without breakfast. Sat in the rear car. We passed Vermont sunset. The lighting deepened. Delay, 113 seconds. The wall no longer bore legible numbers, just striated echo marks, suggesting graphite or carbon burn. In place of the tag, a recessed surface turned ever so slightly toward my window, and I faintly perceived, no more than a shape, the figure. Its sleeve flashed at the wrist. It did not face me, not fully, but somehow I recognized it, I think. There was something about its height, its angle, the edge of a Timex watch that mirrored mine exactly. I found my own hand had left fingerprints on the cold glass. We resumed motion without chime or lurch. When I reached Civic Center, getting off the train felt indistinguishable from entering it. I retraced my steps to confirm where I truly was. My own office floor felt slightly shortened, as if one stair between levels had been recalculated. My computer mouse vibrates faintly when I let it idle. Every video I play now, news segments, YouTube lectures, staff orientation footage, freezes for a beat at the same time mark, 2:53. I have 2 more commutes before Friday. I will try not to look again. I know I will.